Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just apply it there.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're rediving into a thought experiment that's both terrifying and fascinating. What if humanity had to reboot Earth? Imagine a future where our original planet, our home, is on the brink of total ecological collapse. The air is toxic, the oceans are dead, and the land is barren. Humanity's last, desperate gamble isn't to escape to the stars, but to rebuild what we lost piece by piece. This is the story of the rise of the rebuilt Earths. In this not-so-distant future, the Earth we know is referred to as Earth Prime, a relic, a museum of our mistakes. Faced with extinction, scientists achieved the impossible. They didn't just clone a sheep or a mammoth. They developed the technology to clone entire ecosystems, entire segments of the planet in massive, self-contained biospheres orbiting the sun. Think of them as giant, celestial petri dishes, each one a perfect, pristine copy of a specific region of Earth, Prime, before the Industrial Age. The first of these was Amazonia Falfa, a sprawling sphere containing a meticulously recreated Amazon rainforest. Every jaguar, every kapok tree, every single species of butterfly was resurrected from preserved DNA. It was a perfect, living duplicate. Following its success, more were created. Serengeti Beta, a vibrant copy of the African savanna. Kobigama, a reconstruction of the vast desert. An Arctic Delta, a frozen world of polar bears and pristine ice. Each sphere was a slice of the past, a living time capsule. But who got to live in these new Edens? That's where the story takes a turn. Access was a privilege, not a right. The wealthiest, the most powerful, the intellectual elite, they became the first inhabitants of these rebuilt Earths. They left behind the smog-choked ruins of Earth Prime, where the vast majority of the human population remained, struggling to survive in the husk of a dead world. This created a new kind of social divide, not just between rich and poor, but between the Spherians and the Grounders. Life for the Spherians was idyllic. They lived in technologically advanced, sustainable cities, seamlessly integrated into the cloned environments. They breathed clean air, drank pure water, and walked among animals that had been extinct on Earth Prime for centuries. It was a paradise, engineered and maintained by advanced, which controlled everything from the weather patterns to the predator-prey balance. For them, the apocalypse was something they watched on historical documentaries, not something they lived. Meanwhile, back on Earth Prime, life was a daily struggle. The Grounders, the descendants of those left behind, lived in scavenged cities under a perpetually gray sky. They were resourceful, tough, and resilient, developing their own unique culture and technology based on recycling and survival. Yet, they lived under the constant, glittering reminder of the paradise. They were excluded from the string of rebuilt Earths that shone like jewels in their night sky. They looked up and saw the heavens their ancestors had gifted to the rich. Naturally, this galactic segregation couldn't last. A growing resentment simmered on Earth Prime. The Grounders began to ask a dangerous question. Why should they be condemned to a wasteland, while the elite enjoyed the perfect worlds their ancestors built? The Spherians, on the other hand, grew up with a sense of entitlement, viewing the Grounders as a dangerous, uncivilized remnant of a failed world. They saw Earth Prime as a necessary sacrifice, a quarantine zone for humanity's past failures. The tension finally boils over when a group of brilliant Grounder engineers, using scavenged and reverse-engineered technology, managed to build their own starship. Their goal is not to attack, but to migrate. They set a course for Pacifical Epsilon, the newest and largest of the rebuilt Earths. a perfect copy of the Pacific Ocean and its thousands of islands. Their arrival is unannounced and completely unexpected. They aren't asking for permission. They are simply coming home to a world they believe is their birthright. The arrival of the grounder ship, the Vagabond, sends shockwaves through the Spherian society. For the first time, their perfect, controlled world is breached. The AI that governs the sphere doesn't know how to react to this unscheduled variable. The Spherian leaders are faced with a monumental choice. Do they welcome the refugees, sharing the paradise they've so carefully guarded? Or do they see them as invaders, a contamination from the dirty world they left behind, and repel them by force? This conflict forces both sides to confront their own identity. The grounders, who have romanticized the rebuilt Earths, must face the reality of a society that is sterile, controlled, and perhaps just as broken in its own way. The Spherians, who have lived in a perfect bubble, are forced to confront the moral cost of their utopia and the humanity of the people they abandoned. The rebuilt Earths are no longer just a backdrop. They become the battleground for the very soul of humanity. What happens next? Does this lead to a war among the heavens, or a new, unified beginning for the scattered human race? The story of the rebuilt Earths is a powerful allegory for the issues we face today: environmental responsibility, social inequality, and the very definition of what it means to be human. It asks us, if we had a second chance to build a perfect world, would we make the same mistakes all over again? If you enjoyed this dive into the world of the rebuilt Earths, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more deep dives into fascinating sci-fi concepts. Let me know in the comments what you think would happen next. Would you be a Spherian or a grounder? End of transmission. Reality will now resume.
Man, I'm built different, period. I'm just built different, man. And I've always had an eye, discipline, and a work ethic that I've had at a young age that I just kind of